That way I don't forget, because I can easily start talking and then realize halfway through a call that I've forgotten to hit record. Okay, so we will just dive right in. I'm really excited to be doing this. This is my second time leading a Power Hour call. I'm going to be totally transparent with you. The first time I did it, I was a ball of nerves, so nervous. And I think I really wanted to like share that with you guys, because I think that's so important in this business, is like leaning in and doing things that scare us. Because I have been coaching now 3.5 years, and there's still so many days that I get those butterflies in my stomach and just lean into opportunities and take risks with this business that still just scare me so much. So I'm going to just quickly introduce myself, and then we will dive in and get some work done. So my name is Lauren Blackledge. I live in Charleston, West Virginia. I have been coaching for, yeah, Haley, I see you. I've been coaching for 3.5 years, a little bit, yeah, I guess it would be right around 3.5 years. I started coaching as a discount coach. Again, an important part, don't discount your discount coaches, because they could be leading calls like this one day. I started in November of 2017, really a committed challenger, like someone who needed this in my life and loved every bit about it. Before I even knew coaching was really a thing, I was already bleeding Beachbody Blue, and just loved every step of it. But I kind of sat in this space of just limiting belief of what I could do and who I could help. And so that's a really big part of my story, because I feel like, you know, looking back, I wasted a couple months that I really could have just done some really cool things with this business. At that time, I was a full-time elementary school teacher. I was in my 10th, or I guess at that time it would have been like my 8th or 9th year of teaching elementary school. Had a side photography business, and I'm a wife and a mom. And at that point in time, my son was 5, and he was, just the epitome of what my life revolved around, which honestly is what brought me into this whole process, because I was only taking care of him and just pouring everything into him and not taking care of myself. And so Beachbody came around, and I just fell in love with everything about it. And now, 3 years later, obviously a lot has happened. I do this now full time. And I left teaching and really just took this business and ran with it, and just learned and ran as I went. And I think that's really been just such a huge part of my story is, when we do this Power Hour today, if you go back and watch the recordings, there's going to be coaches who are so much more organized than me, who have just such a better structure. And I hope that you find inspiration in knowing that even in the messiness of what of what this looks like, and kind of how random we can pull this into our day, that you can really do big things with it. My team is currently, we are in qualification for 5-star diamond. We were last year we were a premier team, and next week we should be a 3-star diamond team. So, really big things are happening, and it's crazy that it can still happen even though life feels like a mess. Because right now, I left the classroom, but because of the circumstances we're all dealing with, I've actually been forced back into the classroom, being a homeschool parent right now. And so I think a lot of us are just kind of dealing with the change and that we're all going through. And I think it's important that we kind of put our positive energy into this. So that I will stop rambling from there, but let's just dive in. I am the queen of the success tracker system. I love this. This is what I share with my team every week. This is how I keep my business in order. I wish I had something else, but it's kind of like, why fix it if it isn't broken? And this works for me. So if you follow this, I hope you have it printed. If you don't have yours printed, just know there is an app you can download. It's just you can just go to if you have iPhone, I think it's like SCBAT. Yeah, the SCBAT the green one right there. That's a great way to keep track if you're more digital and need it. If you're doing like power hours, if you're still working full time. I know I used to send my invites from my car, when I would leave school. So I know what it's like to kind of work on the fly. So having that app can be helpful if you don't always have your paper and pencil with you. All right. So the first thing I really love to get in tune with is my why. Oh, what's the app, Stephanie? It's called just SC Bat. If you go onto, I'm not sure if it's on Android, but on the iPhone, it's just aqua green, but it's literally the Success Club trackers, just in digital form, and you can do that. All right, perfect. Okay, so the first thing that I think it's so important to make sure you're understanding and kind of have a clear vision of is your why, but also knowing that this why will change and transform over time. I know for me, this year has been a really big shift in my why, because I've kind of overcome a lot of just in like limiting beliefs. I've said that before, but right now, I focus my why on a negative. I, like I said, was a teacher. So my why is very directed in what I don't want my life to look like. I taught for 10 years and I got very, very burned out, and I was not loving the life that I was living. And so my why is to live a life that I love. And I also show up every single day with the fear of having to go back into the classroom. And that is just my personal why. And you have to get in tune with your personal why, whether it's a positive why of the dream and the vision that you have for your future, or whether it's a negative why of what you want your future to not look like. And for me, I'm very driven by what I don't want my future to look like. And now that it's starting to kind of come into fruition, I can start thinking about those bigger things. I can start thinking about what I want my life to look like. But if you're not someone who's driven, or if you're not someone who's able to clearly picture what your future is, what you want it to look like, I think it's important to really think about what you don't want it to look like. So my why is living a life that I love. I wake up excited every single day. And I wake up right here because yes, this is the only room in my house that is quiet right now. And so for me, my alarm when I was teaching, my alarm would go off at 4:30 in the morning, and I would already be dreading my day. I would already be dreading what I was going to have to do and the workload that I knew I was going to have to take on and the stressors that I was going to have to face. And I didn't want that anymore. And so for me, the feeling like my heart could burst going, like when I go to bed every night, knowing that I get to look forward to the next day. And that sometimes seems really crazy to say, especially like right now, the way the world is. I'm still so excited to go to bed and wake up the next morning to do this. And then I just really focus on the fear. The very middle of my vision board downstairs says that work so hard that you don't have to go back into the classroom. Work is hard that you don't have to do that. And so whatever pushes you and whatever your vision is, whether you're futuristic and you can vision what you want for your future, or whether you're someone that's in a space that really needs to just not have the past happen. And so I'm going to give you guys just a couple minutes. We'll give like 2 minutes to just write down your why. And maybe make a little T, like what do you want your future to look like and what do you not want it to look like? So I will give you guys a minute for that. 2 minutes for that. I'll set my timer. All right. Okay, so I'm going to shift into the next part of the tracker, and that's your target market. I I am super like, I guess, simplistic with this. I actually was so inspired. I don't know if you guys caught Lindsay's Power Hour. Was it last week? Of just finding like really zoning into your target market, and I was obsessed with that. So if you haven't listened to her recording yet, go back and listen to it, because she did a phenomenal job on just really breaking it down. It was amazing. But for me, I just jot down each week like um, the dream coach that I either already have on my team, or the dream coach that I envision will be on my team. And so usually my target range is from women from 25 to 40. A big part of my platform is I talk a lot about my marriage, from the struggles that we've had and that we've overcome, to a lot of just tips that oh, we've had over time from being married for 12 years. So that's a big key area of my niche, because I talk openly about marriage. And so a lot of my team are either like women who are married, about to be married, newlyweds. And so that is something that I really make sure that I'm working with. There's usually women who are married. I'm also searching for the silver lining seekers, people who are who've maybe are dealing with the struggles in life, but they're still finding the positives. That's a very big part of me. I'm always someone, so I'm always someone who's kind of like, even in a really crummy situation, trying to find the positive from it. And so I'm looking for that in other women, because I want my team to be filled with women who might have a really hard day or might have really tough times, but we're still trying to find the positives from it, because nothing is harder than working with people who are negative or kind of the Debbie Downers. And so that's something that I really focus on, is like the personality of the people that I want on my team. In addition to I know a lot of times people say like moms and stuff like that, even though I am a mother, my team is actually not filled with a whole lot of moms. And so I think it's important to not only just think of the people that you want to work with, but not forget about the personality that you want to bring onto your team. And so I'll give you guys just a couple minutes, because I'd say a lot of you are probably already pretty in tune with who you're looking for. We kind of, it's common to kind of look for the people in ourselves, the features that we have. So I look a lot for like the people I'd want to be friends with. So I'll give you guys just a minute to jot down some little marks for your target market. All right, up next. Okay, so we've kind of got the top part of the tracker down. At this point, I'm hoping you guys have already done, step one being proof of the product, getting in your workout, drinking your Shakeology, sharing that through your social media. Those are kind of the easy points of being a product of the product, is doing the things that are already going to fill your cup, taking care of yourself. So hopefully you guys can already put a check mark for those. And then next, for the personal development, that you can either, you've either already done, or take the time after this call to listen to some personal development for the day. For me, with personal development, I'm super intentional about making sure that I am listening to something that is filling a void or an area that I need growth in at that point. Like I love Rachel Hollis, but right now in this state, like of my business, I don't need, I don't worry about the opinions of other people right now. So I don't need to listen to a podcast or, personal development about overcoming other people's opinions, because I feel like I've already conquered that. But right now I'm learning how to be a better leader, and I'm learning how to be there for my team and help my team grow. And so I'm spending a lot of time, listening to more leadership based podcasts or books, in the sense of what it is I need growth in at that moment. So think about, when you're picking up a PD or picking a training, make sure it's connecting with something that you really need to grow on or grow in at that moment. All right. So the next two parts, steps 2 and steps 3, obviously these are the meat of our business. I think that's what Morgan Ryer on the National Wake Up Call the other day said. She's like, this is the most important part. And I cannot say that I agree. Even like, it is so important to do number 2. That is the chunk of this business. And if you're not doing step 2, your business is probably not moving forward. So to kind of break down the pieces, I will be so honest with you. I started this business as a part-timer. And so even though I'm doing this full time, my days and my number 2 is still very chunked in weird spots throughout my day. It's just how I work. Well, I still work this business in power pockets, even though I technically have the whole day where I could sit down and do it. And I wish I could just sit there, but I am too squirrel brained. So we're going to do this in 1 hour, but just know, if there's a day when you can't sit down for 1 hour, do not let that stop you from getting these tasks done. Do not think that you can't sit there, while you would be scrolling. For me right now, like I wake up an hour earlier and I get my Energize fix, and that every morning is when I do my connections. My brain is still a little bit foggy and I can easily connect with people versus scrolling on my phone mindlessly. I'm always intentional. If I have this phone in my hand, it is for a business income producing activity, not just scrolling for the fun of it. So keep that in mind and kind of really just be careful about how you're spending your time on your phone. So let me just kind of dig in. I'll kind of go in order, but I really wanted to focus on one point. So first thing, hands down, most important part in making sure that you're building your following, you're building your connections, is making sure you're planting your seeds. And planting your seeds, guys, are those connections. I actually made a cycle the other day. If you think about our business in a life cycle, like those old school, life cycles, like the butterfly life cycle, this business goes in that. When you are making your connections, that is you planting your seeds. When you're being a product of the product, that is you watering those seeds, because the people that are watching you are watching to see if you're actually doing what you've invited them to. And then the last part is the follow-up, which is usually when when it comes to harvest, or when, we start to bloom. So what we're really going to focus on today for these last 40 minutes of this call is getting in our connections, getting in our invites, and following up with the people that we've been talking to, or that we've been inviting and sharing with. Because if you're not doing those 3, then nothing's going to bloom from it. Nothing's going to come from it. Those are the cycle of this business. Yes, all of it's important, but you need for that rotation to be happening for it to come. All right. So for me with connections, I kind of am Instagram's always changing. It's always growing. I'm always trying to find different avenues of how I can connect with people that are like me. And so I kind of just switch it up from day to day. Some days I will go to someone who's clicked like on one of my pictures, and then I will go to their profile and find friends that are liking their photos, especially if it's been a photo that's been recently posted. I know a lot of us will sometimes go to like bloggers or like big accounts that are non-Beachbody and start clicking, start finding new people from those. So however you do it, again, there's really no right or wrong way. Some of the people that I've connected with that are now leaders on my team were people that I found through friends of friends of friends. So yes, the bloggers are great and they give you kind of more of a wide variety, but don't forget about your local community, because you can find a lot of amazing people that you could be friends with and that could join your team through that. So we're going to set the timer for 10 minutes and we will do this. Does anyone have any questions you want to drop in the chat about connections? If anyone's, I'd say we're all good at this point. All right. Okay, I'm gonna set my timer for 10 and I'm going to do the same. Let me add really fast. I also, when I'm connecting with those people, I do the 5-3-1. 5 likes, 3 comments, and 1 follow. And I count comments as watching their stories. So I love watching people's stories. So if they've done a recipe or like they're doing something, like posted a picture of their food, like I always comment with the drooly face and I'm like, that looks amazing, because that's how I would talk to my friends. If there's a picture of someone and they, like, for example, I had, one friend this morning, she posted a cute picture of her baby with these big blue eyes, and I just commented, I was like, oh my gosh, her eyes are beautiful. Simple things like that you would naturally say to someone. When you find someone, do you instantly follow or do you like comment? I like, comment, and then follow. But honestly, sometimes I'll follow first if I immediately like them. I guess I don't do it I do it in the same moment, but if I'm intrigued and want to be friends with that person, I really don't hold back, because I wouldn't hold back with my friends in real life anyways. So I think the key is to not get in our heads about the process, but really just be genuine. Because my main motto is, you'll never say the right thing to the wrong person, but you'll never say the wrong thing to the right person. So if someone doesn't like the way that I've commented and liked, well, they're not my people anyways. So there we go. All right, within this 10 minutes, are we connecting only with new people, or I'm doing new people for 10 minutes. New people for 10 minutes, and then the next 10 minutes we'll dig into the people that are already in our circle. All right. Okay. So hopefully, if you got, I like to call it like lost in an Instagram rabbit hole. Hopefully at this point, you're going to have to click your back button a ton of times. I love just getting caught in different rabbit holes of like following people. That's when you know you got really good and you expanded. All right. So next thing we're going to do with our connections is taking time to get to know the people that we're following or are following us. And I'll kind of just switch this from day to day. So some days I'll do my followers, and then some days I'll do who I'm following. My only holdup with the followers is I tend to get a lot of coaches that follow me. So I try not to, like sometimes I have to dig a lot more. But one thing that I found, if you go to your following, so I don't mean to say that weird, but I'm trying to differentiate between followers. I love when you go to the following, it breaks it down in categories. You can find the people that the last 50 that you have not interacted with, the least interacted with. And then you can also organize your followers from least or latest follow to earliest follow. So if you're wanting to dig in and connect with the people that you've maybe just recently followed in the last week, you can organize it by latest. Or if you're wanting to just really go back and see who you're following, you can flip it to earliest. So depending on who you're wanting to connect with, again, I'm always trying to dig in and connect with as many of the people that I'm following as possible, because the ultimate goal during this time is to connect with the people that we've taken the time to follow. And so I'll just really dig in that way. Again, I am not the most organized. I probably should have a nice, neat list, but sometimes my connections are just, I get so digging deep. I'm not the best at taking the time to sit down and write the people that I've connected with. That is a point, the whole point is getting better and growing as we go. That's something I need to get better with, but we're just not there yet. You can still run a successful business if you're not there yet either. So, okay, so let's take the next 10 minutes to just show some love to the people that we're following. I do it the exact same way. Obviously, I'm already following them, so I don't do the follow, like, comment, but I really just go show love, watch their stories. When I have like sorted it out, I usually will pick the people that have stories. That way I can just quickly go through, because that's usually what I'm most interested in, because it's what's happening in their day to day. And then if they've had a good story, then I'll click their profile and go back and show love. So, all right, setting the timer there. We'll do 10 minutes. Oh yeah. Okay. So what I do, you go to your following, and then if you go to the top, it'll say least interacted with. It has like a little section, and when you tap it, it'll show you the 50. Instagram like generates that, and then it says within the last 90 days, and then you can also filter it. There's like a up and down arrow right there on your when you're listed at your followers, and then that's where you can just sort it by the latest people that you followed or the people that you've followed since your Instagram started. So again, I'll just kind of flip flop it every now and then just to kind of get a good grasp on making sure that I'm making connections with all of my following. And sometimes if I see it's someone that hasn't posted since 2018, I'll take that time to unfollow them there too. Do you do this for people who are influencers or different element? No, I usually don't. Like, these are people that I would kind of dig into, that I'm like, that I want to become friends with, that I think would become, coaches on my team or challengers in my challenge group. I usually will look at the person and be like, could I see myself hanging out with that person? I don't really mess with other MLMs. Maybe makeup, if I feel like it's someone that I'm wanting to connect with, but I try to just keep it with just my people. And I definitely don't with influencers, because they get enough, with they run all their own stuff. So I definitely don't. Hi, Emily. We're just doing a power hour. So right now we're working on connections with the people that we're following on our Instagram. Sherry, yes, I connect with their stories because that's kind of my prime, like that's what I like to engage with. And to me, if they took a moment in their stories that day, they're using their Instagram, and that's kind of the people that I want. So I definitely connect with their stories. Sometimes I'll connect with their stories more than their posts. That does two things. One, if they start watching my stories and I'm connecting with them on theirs, they usually then start connecting with me on mine because we're building that conversation level. Whether it's just from the craziness of my dogs to then, if they're posting something that I'm asking about. I start a lot of conversations about dogs too, especially I have a doodle, and I will talk to any other doodle parent and be like, tell me your tips, or, what kind is yours? Just true conversation stuff. I do tend to focus more on people that are posting stories just because I feel like there's a more um what's the word I'm thinking of? More authentic conversation. Sometimes with a post, it's, either just like, for example, yesterday was Earth Day. You can only talk so much with someone about their pictures from Earth Day, unless that they've left a question. So I find that conversations are usually more authentic by talking and engaging on other people's posts or stories. Sorry. All right, so we're gonna stop on the connections because we have 15 minutes left and we still have to invite, which is like the most important thing, inviting and follow up. Okay, so let's kind of dig in really quickly. Sorry, I hope this actually might go over. I'm gonna try not to go over an hour, but I really don't want to leave you guys hanging without like the main meat and potatoes of this. Okay, so let's talk about inviting. I invite to what I have coming up. So I always have something coming up. Cassie says I'll stay longer. Awesome. Thank you. I talk too much. It's a problem. Which is also because I talk too much, I do a lot of my invitations and my conversations through audio. And that goes with my team. My team knows that they're going to get me on audio text at all times. Even if they text me through words, I am audio for sure. So it is a time saver because I couldn't tell you the carpal tunnel that I would have if I had to type. So my invitations are copy and paste, especially if I am inviting to a challenge group. So I have a new challenge group starting on Monday. Yes, I'm crazy for doing a challenge group right as we're switching over to pod groups, but it's in my schedule and I've got my quarter planned out and we're just going to roll with it and we're all going to have grace for each other. So I have a new boot camp starting on Monday. So I am inviting for my boot camps, but I want to kind of show you how I stem and how I pull my invites in. So I am super intentional, and I'm going to show you, and nobody laugh at me. Hold on. I am going to show you my actual like stories, because when I post my workout videos, I use my workout video as an opportunity to visually invite to my boot camp. And then if I post 3 workout videos and I have people that watched all 3 and they didn't swipe off of me, then I take that as, you know what? They watched my workout. They've been watching my workout. They need an invite to my boot camp. So what I do anytime I have a boot camp, let me tap over to it. Anytime I have a boot camp, so every day I post 3 workout videos, 3 every day. It's not too much. It's not too little. Right now with 10 rounds, it's perfect because I do one with punching, one with the boxing, one clip with with like the core, the agility, and then one with the abs. So this was my video clip. I just said today's focus, upper body. I do that intentionally, and I just simply, like, it's just me. Cassie, my Instagram is just Lauren Blackledge. So, and then I just share upper body. And the reason I feel like that's important is because if someone's watching my stories and they're like, oh yeah, I really want to work, I need to tone my upper body, I wish my arms, I could do this. So I'm intentional about making sure that I like share what it is I'm working on for that day. The next thing is with the Instagram, let me tap this. Anytime I have a boot camp, I always use the timer feature. If you haven't used that, and I always have a countdown to my next boot camp. And so I haven't done a roster yet for my boot camp. So today I was intentional about saying, we don't have a roster yet, but it's coming later, but spots are filling up. So that's slide number 2. And then slide number 3 was me doing another move. I've got the clip, the timer again. Then I have the dates of my boot camp. And then I just have a quick comment on worth a shot. Worst thing that can happen is you take 21 days to learn more about wellness and fitness from home. Message me to join. So that right there gave everyone the opportunity. They know when I'm doing the boot camp. I've given them a little bit of a trigger in their mindset of like, yeah, she's right. What else am I doing for 21 days? Right now, the world is kind of frozen. Maybe I'll give it a shot. And then the dates. Yesterday, because of this, I had a girl reach out and she was like, all right, April 26th, let's do it. I mean, so you might not think that just showing this workout video or showing this clip and putting that little blurb, but it gets people's brains moving. And then I then have, my list of people that watch that story that I can then send my invite to. Like, hey, thanks. I saw you watch my story today. Do you want to do this? You want to do this April boot camp together? I'm usually super just straight to the point, especially if it's someone that I've been talking to. And I just leave it at that. I also have like my copy and paste invitation, and it is simple. And I just copy it. Hey, I hope you're having a great day. I'm enrolling for my May virtual accountability group, a place where busy women get nutrition and exercise support. Would you want to check out some info and see if it's a good fit for you? I don't ever say like, do you want to do this? I always say, do you want to check out some info? That way it gets the conversation going. Very rarely do people say, no, I don't want any information. They'll say, sure, send me some, because I'm not saying, do you want to buy? Or I'm not saying, do you want to do, I'm saying, do you want information? And then the next, pretty much from that point on, when they say, sure, I say, great. Tell me your goals / struggles you want to work on. And guys, that is the last part of my conversation that's scripted. From that point on, when they tell me their goals and their struggles, I am straight audio. I then only talk to them through audio. Even if they don't message me back, that's audio, it's fine. But 1, it lets them hear that I'm a human being. 2, it lets them hear the genuine sound of our voice. Sometimes people want to hear that my kid is screaming in the background, that my dogs are barking. They want to hear that, when you're talking about health and wellness, it can be scary. It can be intimidating. When you're talking about coaching, it can be scary. And so when someone hears the genuine tone in your voice saying that you think that they would be an amazing fit on your team, or you think that they would be an amazing, that they would love this boot camp because you can help them with all the struggles that that they've just now told you they're having, that's when I am like super genuine. And I think that is golden, and you're gonna suck at it at first. You're going to. My voice shakes. There's still some days I'm like, oh man, that was a train wreck. Again, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So, all right, let's take some time to invite. So if you haven't posted your workout videos today, or if you have, tomorrow, add a timer to it. Let people know. I put that timer in every single day. That way someone is always seeing when my next boot camp is. And it's what one, like once you have the timer made, it takes 0.2 seconds left to hear them, and or to add that to your story. So let's take 10 minutes. I personally send 20 invites a day, like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. 20 invites. So it obviously would normally take me longer than 10 minutes. We'll do 10 minutes for the sake of this call, but whatever your invitation goals are, you stick to them every single day. There are days I lay here in this bed and I'm like, shoot, I only got 15 out today, and I will bust out my last 5. So keep your promises to yourself of what your goals are. All right, let's do this. 10 minutes for invites. Selena, if you are a newer coach, I would say yes, say that you're starting a boot camp. If you're not in a boot, or if you're not hosting your own boot camp yet, say that you're co-hosting a boot camp with your coach. So whatever boot camp you're in, and it can start. And if you don't have a day, or if it's already going, then just call it the month. Like just use the month. Because if it's an ongoing group, we all have May getting ready to come. So my May boot camp. And then this could be a good time to set your own date, or team up with another coach to create a new date. Kelly, I wish I had a fix for that. I'm the same way. Some days my stories go up, some days they're not. Like today, my numbers aren't that hot. It's Instagram, we can't control social media, but you already do have a following of people. You have people that you're in conversation, like you have people, just because they're not watching your stories. I, again, I have confidence in this business. To me, if someone's my Facebook friend, they're in my world. If someone's following my Instagram, they're in my world. So I will not, I don't, the only thing I believe in as a cold invite is someone that's not on my Facebook or someone that I'm not following. But if they're on my Instagram or they're on my Facebook, they are my people then. What's your wording again from the workout video? Oh, my wording is just, hey girl, I saw you, hey, I saw you saw my stories. You want to do my next boot camp? Because if they saw it, they see when it is. You're welcome, Kelly. All right. Let's go ahead and shift our gears to probably my favorite part. And this is the follow up. So, my follow ups, I am super intentional about following up with the people that I've been talking to that have had shown interest, but also following up with them the same way that I would want to be followed up with. Um, so I do this, I'm super intentional about my wording, and I make sure that the person I'm talking to knows that I really want them to come into my community or my group because I want them there, not because I'm trying to sell them anything. So I'm super the way I word it is I'm just hold on, I'll read it to you verbatim because I keep everything in my Google Keep. If you don't have Google Keep yet and you're using notes, Google Keep is my jam. So for someone that I'm following up with that maybe told me to reach back out to them in a couple months, I'll just say, hey, I know, I always refer to their name. Hey, I know we chatted a couple months ago about my boot camps. I wanted to follow up and invite you to my next one. Any thoughts on doing it together? So I always leave them with a question. Another one that, and obviously I change them because it just depends on how you left the conversation. If it's a follow up from the month prior and we were chatting, but the conversation fell off, I'll say, hey, hey, Sarah, I know last month didn't work out for us, but I wanted to shoot you an invite to see if you were interested in us, joining in with us this month. Any interest in jumping in? And then if it's someone that I'm talking to recently and, they're, we're kind of in that stage where it's like, all right, we got to make the decision. Then this is when my follow up usually shifts to, hey, hey Kelly, I wanted to check in with you. I'm currently enrolling women into my boot camp right now, and I didn't want to leave you out if you still wanted a spot. And I think that's huge in the sense of, you know, we don't like to be I don't like to be left out. If someone's doing something fun, I want to be invited to come. And so I really make my wording into the sense of like I want them there. I'm not just trying to make the sale. It's not like they have, this certain amount of time. They get to decide if they want to come to my party, and it's a fun one to come to. And so we need to make sure that they know that, and that it's okay if they don't, but also you thought about them for if they did. And I will always remember I have a friend who when she had her, she shares this story with me. She's a fellow coach, but she had a lot of postpartum hair loss. And so another MLM that has a lot of hair products had reached out to her, and she like spoke and shared her story and like explained about how she was struggling with this hair loss or the postpartum hair loss. And this woman never followed up with her. And she's like, for the first time, I realized how important it is for us to follow up, because she's like, I thought she didn't care. She's like, I poured my heart out to her and she never checked in with me. So it told me she didn't care. So don't let the people that you're talking to tell you about their goals, tell you about their struggles, whether it's with coaching because they want to make a certain income, or whether it's with their health and wellness. It's up to us to follow up with them so that they know we actually care. It's more skeezy if we don't. It's hard. Like to me, it just says, oh, we don't care. We're on to the next person. So follow-ups are golden. So that is one part of my day that also always happens. I really don't set a number on that. I usually set a time limit for that, or my list, because if my list of the people that I talked to a couple days ago, if I was, or I can't do 20 invites, 20 follow-ups, because I'll get, I don't always get 20 responses. So it usually just goes off of who I've talked to and just reaching back out to them. So that will be our next and final thing of the night. So I will set the timer for that and we will get going with that. Also, key with the follow-up is, remember I talked about like the seeds? You have to make sure you're doing your invites so that you do have people to follow up with. Because if you're not, then you won't have the people to follow up with. Yeah, Hannah, if you go to your Instagram and then you click your number of the people that you're following, it is um, right there. It should be least interacted with. Hannah just asked to show her the least activity. You're welcome. All right, guys, it is 9:10. I'm sorry I've kept you 10 minutes longer, but probably if I didn't ramble so much at the beginning, we could have gotten this in an hour. But I think that kind of wraps it up. Again, I kind of keep it simple. There's always room for growth, but I think just as long as you're all taking action and moving forward, the growth will happen over time. So I am excited. I hope everyone maybe got something from this, at least got in an hour of work. So I will send the recording to Lindsay for this and chat with you guys later. Thanks for hopping on with me. Bye.